everyone, it's Bee here, and welcome back to Read and Roam. This is the Community Spotlight, where we celebrate awesome things kids have done. First up, one brave kid rescued a puppy in danger. That took courage and care. And here's another. These kids cleaned up a messy park so everyone could enjoy it. That showed teamwork and kindness in action. These stories are pretty different. One's about a puppy, and the other is about a park. Different problems and different people. But guess what? They have something in common. They both show the theme that kindness means helping others, even when it's hard or unexpected. Even if stories look different on the outside, they can still share the same theme. Today, your job as a reader is to compare two very different stories and figure out if they teach the same theme. Across books, movies, and tales from around the world, stories often share the same theme, like honesty builds trust. Kindness makes a difference. Good friends stick together. The same theme can show up in all kinds of genres, like fantasy with talking animals, or realistic fiction about a family moving to a new town. Let's build on what we learned about characters last time. Remember, when we think about the main idea, what a character learns, and how they solve a problem, we can find big clues about the story's theme. Today, we're going to read two stories that seem completely different, but listen closely. Even though the settings and characters are very different, the stories might teach us the same theme. Captain Jay pulled on his helmet and snapped his gloves. The fire truck had just arrived at a burning apartment building. Flames roared against the windows and black smoke curled into the sky. "Third floor!" someone shouted. "A little boy is trapped!" Jay didn't hesitate. He ran up the stairwell with his partner, the heat growing hotter with each step. The building creaked and groaned, but Jay didn't stop. They found the boy in a corner, coughing and scared. "You're safe now," Jay said, wrapping him in his jacket. Even as part of the ceiling fell behind him, Jay carried the boy down the stairs, step by step, never letting go. When they got outside, the boy looked up at him. "You're a hero," he whispered. Captain Jay smiled. "Just doing my job." Now we're ready to find the theme. Did you find clues to help you find the main idea? I know from reading that the main idea is a firefighter saves a boy from a burning building. What did the character learn? Captain Jay learns that real heroes are brave and they help others even when it's dangerous. How did Captain Jay solve his problem? He ran into the burning building, found the boy, and carried him out safely. Do you know what the theme might be? I think it's telling us that even when something is scary, brave people do the right thing to help others. Now, let's look at the second story. Just like before, listen closely to what the main idea is, how the character solves the problem, and what they learn. Everyone in the village had run to hide. Everyone except Lonnie. The dragon had returned, its giant wings beating the sky and its breath making the grass smoke. Lonnie stood at the edge of the woods, holding only a small lantern and her satchel. "My brother's still out there," she whispered, "and I'm going to bring him home." She crept through the tall grass toward the dragon's cave. The wind from its wings almost knocked her over, but she kept walking. Her knees shook, her hands trembled, but she didn't stop. Inside the cave, Lonnie called out, "Tomo!" A small voice answered, "Lonnie?" She dashed forward and found her little brother hiding behind a rock. She took his hand, and together they tiptoed past the sleeping dragon. When they reached the village again, people cheered. "You faced a dragon all by yourself," someone gasped. Lonnie just smiled. "I had to. He's my brother." Now, let's think about what we learned from Lonnie's story. What's the main idea of the story? Pause here and record your idea. The main idea is that a girl rescues her brother from a dragon's cave. What did Lonnie learn in the story? Pause here and record your thoughts. Lonnie shows us that bravery means doing the right thing, even when you're afraid. How did Lonnie solve her problem? Lonnie went through the tall grass, entered the dragon's cave, and rescued her brother. What do you think the theme of this story is? Pause and record your ideas. I think it's showing us that when you really care about someone, you'll do brave things to help them. We just read two very different stories, one fantasy and one realistic fiction, but they share a similar theme. Let's compare each story to see how. Let's think about what's the same in both stories by looking at the main characters. What did Captain Jay and Lonnie both do? They both faced danger and showed bravery. Captain Jay ran into a burning building, and Lonnie went into a dragon's cave. The details are different, but they did the same kind of thing. They were both scared, but they didn't let fear stop them. They both helped someone in need. Captain Jay saved a boy, and Lonnie saved her brother. Now that we've looked at similarities, let's find some differences. This helps us see how stories can look different on the outside, but still share a common theme. Can you think of at least one thing that's different between the two stories? Pause here and record your idea in your notes. Did you think about what kind of story Captain Jay's is? It's realistic fiction. What about Lonnie's? That's fantasy with magical elements like a dragon. Who did Captain Jay save? A stranger, a little boy he didn't even know. And who did Lonnie save? Her own brother. What kind of danger did each one face? Captain Jay had to run into a burning building. Lonnie had to face a dragon guarding a cave. So even though both stories are about bravery, the type of story, the danger, and who they helped are all different. Now that we've looked at both stories, we can see they share the same theme. Even though one story had a firefighter in a burning building and the other had a girl facing a dragon, they both acted bravely to help someone in danger. The characters, settings, and events were different, but what they did was the same. That's why the shared theme is bravery means helping others even when you're scared. When we learn to find a common theme in different stories, we start to see big ideas that matter in many ways, no matter where the story takes place or what kind of story it is. That's how we connect stories to life. Today, you learned that even when stories are different, sometimes you realize they have the same theme by looking closely at the main idea, how characters solve problems, and what they learn. Next time you read, ask yourself, what's the main idea? How does the character solve the problem? What does the character learn? Even if two stories are different, could they still share the same theme? Bye, everyone, and remember, where there are words, there's a world to explore.
Hey, hey.